Welcome everybody to the Atypical Life YouTube channel today. I am Josh, I am joined by Hadley, and I'm joined by the wonderful Tim Treloar. Hi there.
Hello, hi.
Ah, great stuff. So before we begin, just to very quickly say, we actually interviewed you, what was it, 5 days ago?
Something like that, yeah, last Sunday.
Yeah, it was, we were all at a weekend at Devil's End, so I thought I'd mention that very briefly. But before we talk about Doctor Who and before we talk about the main bulk of this interview, I'd like you, in your own words, to introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello there, everyone. My name is Tim Treloar. I play the third Doctor for Big Finish Audio Productions.
Fantastic. And within that, I'd also like to know a little bit about your career outside of Doctor Who. Once again, before we dive into the wonderful thing that is the third Doctor, I'd love to know a bit about your career as well, if that's okay.
Well, I used to be a civil servant before deciding to, with some crazy choice, to go to drama school, age 28, for 3 years. So it was a big change of career. And and so I've worked for the last 20 years in mainly theatre and TV and a lot of audio. I've worked, I worked at the Royal Shakespeare Company. I've worked on Broadway, in the West End, the National Theatre. I've been in a few films, telly quite a bit, and I say a lot of audio as well.
Fantastic. When we were looking around, it said you were in Maleficent. Is that right?
That's right. Very briefly, just a scene. I played a Scottish farmer.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So looking back, am I right in saying that your first involvement with Big Finish as the third Doctor was in 2013? Is that right? That's
the third Doctor, yes. But I worked with Big Finish for about 3 years before that, playing various monsters and aliens and gods and soldiers and terrorists and too many to mention. But yeah, I think it was 2014 actually. I started with the third Doctor.
I believe it was Light at the End was the first one as the third Doctor. Is that right?
Oh yes, so that was okay. Yes, that was the previous year. That's right.
That was a little piece. I must ask her, what's it like either being approached or approaching Big Finish and getting all these different roles? How is that for you? I guess there's a lot of variety when they call you up and ask you, when you're doing various things anyway.
Well, initially it was John Dorney, who writes and acts for Big Finish and script edits and does everything else. He was a couple of years above me in drama school, and I met him at a party in some field somewhere, and he said, "Oh, you won the Carlton Hobbs Award, which is a BBC radio award." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, we'll have to get you in for Big Finish." So the next thing, I'd emailed David Richardson and Nick Briggs, and they got me in. And my very first Doctor Who was with Tom Baker, and it was Destination Nerva. And I played lots of roles after that, in not just in Doctor Who, in the Avengers and the Survivors and a few other things. But Tom had said, because I was playing this Victorian zombie lord who was sort of building an empire in space, as they do, and I picked this rather camp, sort of very sort of camp voice, play him. And Tom said, "Oh, he sounds like John," and so I think the seed was sown then.
Because I was about to ask, it happens a lot more now with David Bradley, let's say, playing the first Doctor and what have you, but probably around that time, it was just starting to become an option to play an already existing Doctor. I was about to ask what went into you getting that role. Do you think it was just that comment, or do you think there was more along the way?
I think that probably sowed the seed, and I think Big Finish, there was a wish from some fans that some of the story, the third Doctor stories and the second and the first were missed, and so there was a little bit of a cry for somehow that to happen. And I think John Pertwee had passed away in '96, and I think they felt that respectful time had elapsed where they could maybe consider bringing it back, and I think Katie was keen. She said as long as it wasn't someone just doing an impression.
Yeah.
And so and the first they approached me. I was in New York doing a play on Broadway. No, it wasn't. That wasn't on Broadway. That was in New York though. That was King Lear with Frank Langella, who you probably know as Dracula, and as he's also in the X-Men, isn't he, as well? Skeletor. And I got a phone call when I was in New York, and at the time, I was in New York, so I was like, yeah, okay, great, fantastic. And then when I came back and it came nearer, then I pooed myself a little bit. Sort of, it dawned on me the huge thing that was being asked. And luckily, the first volume they used me as a narrator role as well. To ease into it, so it wasn't just someone suddenly being the third Doctor. It was a narrator who also spoke the third Doctor's lines. So I think that's very cleverly how they managed to do it.
Absolutely. And
was Light at the end kind of like a testing the waters?
It must have been, yeah. I mean, I was only about 2 or 3 lines in there which were distorted, and that was before sort of. At the time, I didn't take that as, oh, you're playing the third Doctor. It was just another part. So I probably sort of did that as I would any other job. I wish now I'd get time, if time could roll back somehow as it does in Doctor Who, I could have worked on that in a different way. But at the time, it was just another job. And
it looks like, from an outside perspective, you've played the third Doctor for, as you say, like a few lines in Light at the End, and then have launched right in with an entire spin-off series revolving around you.
Yeah. Yes, that was quite something to get my head around, to be honest. But luckily, I have the wonderful Katie, and Richard and John, who've been tremendous in their support. And obviously, as I work primarily with Katie, she's just been wonderful, as has Nick Briggs. To be fair, they.
I did mention this in Devil's End, but you really do, like, you and Katie together work really well at recapturing that spirit from the third Doctor. Like, it feels like you are watching one of the old unit episodes and the like, which initially was a bit. It didn't work for me immediately. Because I still had the mindset of, right, so this isn't John Pertwee, this is someone who sounds like John Pertwee. But very quickly, that does get broken down purely from the dynamics. To be honest, you could even have sounded less like him, and I'd have still bought it because of how that nice dynamic works.
Oh, we have a great chemistry in the studio. I mean, we're laughing all the time and being naughty and rude, and we have great fun. So I dearly love Katie, and we do have great chemistry. We're both the naughty children in the corner a lot of the time.
Oh, but yes,
she tells me a lot, and she's always giving me stories, about her time with John, and she's always helping. If I'm starting to lose the voice a little bit, she just helps me with little sort of gestures of what I should do. Do that, darling. Or put your hand behind you, or this is a power stance, So she's fantastic like that. But very, very, very naughty.
I've never spoken to Katie myself. I've been to some of her panels at cons and stuff, and she seems an absolute riot. I could listen to her talk for hours.
She's wonderful, and the fans love her, and she loves the fans as well. She's always there with hugs, and she's great on social media. I mean, I hate Twitter and things like that, but she's always on there giving support and light and love and energy, and she's just a terrific, tremendous human being. Really, she is.
Absolutely. And then I really think that having Katie on there is quite a key component, because when they've redone 1, 2 and 3, I think they did them all around the same time, correct me if I'm wrong, but they obviously had William Russell as the first Doctor at first, and they had Fraser Hines as the second Doctor. Just having those actors being there helps immerse it even more, I think, and I think it's just wonderful to have the option to have them around as well as bringing in new blood,
Well, totally, because it's a link to the past and to how it was meant to be done. and you sort of, it makes you appreciate the legacy and the history more when people like that are around who were actually there.
They both do incredible impressions as well. Like, we've really looked out on how good we're able to get the impressions down of some of these earlier Doctors. Both Fraser, William Russell, and you all sound.
Oh, thank you very much. And of course, you've got now the great John Coleshaw, who's one of the greatest impressionists in the world, is on board as well. So that's
Coleshaw's on like some other level. It's kind of discerning to be around him when he can just flick. So
yes, it is, especially because he does a really good third Doctor as well.
What does he?
I might have to. I've warned him. Don't go too near some.
Hungover one morning, just send Johnny.
This is it. Yeah, exactly. I said, you're the Brigadier. And what a great Brigadier it was. I watched the Demons or Damons. I'm not sure what you should say. A few weeks ago, for about the third time, which is my favourite one of all time, by the way. And I heard the Brigadier's voice, and I thought it was John. I actually thought it was John Coleshaw. I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable.
Demons is very high ranking for me. Like, I love the unit family. I'm lesser keen on some of John Pertwee's later episodes when he gets access to the TARDIS, because I really love the unit family. I love the dynamic of everyone, and everyone's at their best in that episode. I feel
they clearly had a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not, when probably around that time you didn't do as much fixed location work, and then they just spend all that time in Devil's End, I feel like that would have been very fun to be on,
That's it. I said it in the documentary that we did. It's still yet to go up. But I say in that, like, I knew my way around. I've never been before, but I knew where all the locations of how much they utilized.
It's a beautiful village, absolutely beautiful village, and it's great to hear that it's pretty much the same as it was 50 years ago.
Absolutely. I suppose whilst we're talking about it, we should bring it up again. We were at Devil's End near enough a week ago now. I must ask you, did you enjoy that experience? Did you enjoy being there with all the actors and just being in that village,
Oh, I had a wonderful time. Oh, tremendous time, especially as, we've not been able to do this for about a year and a half. And it was great. Normally you are you're in a hotel or a convention center or things like that, which is still great because you've got the people around, but being in the same place that it was filmed in was rather magical. And then, going into the church and looking at all those places, you're going, oh, that's where the helicopter landed. Oh, that's where Third Doctor was tied up, sort of like Wicker Man, and it was just lovely. The only regret I have is not going into the Cloven Hoof, obviously, Blue Boar, for a pint. But I was driving, so I couldn't.
Of course. A lot of people were just going into everywhere. I saw people flooding, obviously, around the church, and we ourselves went in for a pint. Actually, that was quite nice.
Lucky you.
Bloody windy.
Yeah. There was a point where a sail nearly left the table.
There was a point when we were sat down on one of the benches outside there doing like a bit to the camera, and this huge gust of wind takes the umbrella and nearly took the tripod as well. The tripod with the very expensive camera on.
Yes, I do. Yeah. The weather
was, which is so appropriate because of how much the weather changes in that episode. They even have to put in a line of dialogue in that episode about how the demons are causing like freak weather patterns, and then we turn up today and it's rain, it's sunny, it's windy, it's everything. Really rather appropriate.
It was like, exactly, especially for the first scene.
Exactly. Yeah.
You could have done the first scene.
What's quite funny is the way that we will talk more about. I'm just talking about Devil's End now. We end up getting a lot of like nice shots from all around the village, and the way that I've put them together is not in the canonical order that we film them in, which means you can see the weather change throughout the day. But because I've got it all higgledy-piggled, it is literally as inconsistent as it was in the actual episode.
Yeah,
we turn up and it's bright and sunny, but then we get out the car and it's raining.
Exactly. And they had snow at one point, didn't they?
When
they were filming.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what an interesting place! Absolutely, and that Q&A was absolutely hilarious to film, to be a part of. That was wonderful.
Yeah, good fun. Always good fun, especially when the likes of Fraser there. It was always great for a laugh.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Go on. What other questions have we got down? Oh yeah, we do actually have a vague script for this. We're not
You have the little bullet points here. I was going to say, do you want to speak a bit more about the Big Finish side of it, Curtis? Just a bit more about the stories and what have you. Or do you want?
Yeah, because I went through a lot of the Third Doctor stuff in lockdown, and reading up on it, I'm surprised on its not focusing on reusing a lot of commonly used villains. I think you've done 2 Dalek episodes and 1 Cybermen one.
Yeah.
And no Master stuff either. I was wondering,
No, we haven't done a Master thing yet, which I'm sure that'll happen at some point.
I don't know. Has Big Finish got round to recasting Delgado's Master? Because I know there was the Masterful box set recently.
Not that I know of. No, I don't know that yet.
Because it would be fantastic. Because I've mentioned before with my partner, I'd love. This is just me going into like fan stuff now. I'd love something done with your version of the Third Doctor. To do with Pertwee's like original ending story where it was going to be revealed Doctor and the Master was brothers. I'd love a kind of like Lost Stories range or something about that. I think in general, I think we're all kind of waiting for you to meet Delgado's Master again.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they'll get John Coulshaw to do it. I have no idea. But I mean, maybe lobby Big Finish and and get some support on board for that to be done. I'm sure.
I think that will be a massive selling point because obviously the Master is the Third Doctor's main villain. He's in about more than half of his stories on TV,
But he didn't pass away till fairly recently, did he?
This one particularly actually passed away. The version with Pertwee passed away during Pertwee's run, actually, if I remember right.
Oh, okay, all right then. Okay, well maybe.
Yeah, because that's it. They were initially going to have a big reveal. It was going to be the Doctor's regeneration story, where it's like this big fight. It was going to be a remake of like Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes having the sword.
The final problem.
That was going to be like the ending scene where Pertwee would regenerate. Unfortunately, Roger Delgado passed away at some point while they were filming. That's why he just kind of vanishes from the episodes and he just stops being in them.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. I mean, great as well. If we're going to go with the Sherlock Holmes Moriarty theme, we could do it on the edge of a waterfall then.
Yes.
That would be great.
That'd be wonderful.
So on with that, I have to ask as a question to you now, is there any other villains, if not villains, like time periods or any kind of stories specifically that if you were suddenly in charge of Big Finish, you could write yourself whatever story you liked?
Well, I've had the one that I wanted, which is the Cybermen. They were the most scary.
Probably my favorite one of
they were the ones
Doctor.
When I was growing up who were the most terrifying. It's because of the silence, I think.
Yeah.
But let me think. I'd like to do something with K9 if somehow K9 could come back pre-Tom. Yeah, I love K9. But I mean, it'd be great to do a demon style one, wouldn't it? Getting Bok in.
Yeah. No, yeah. A sequel.
Yeah. I mean, you did a sequel to Inferno, didn't you? So I don't think there's much stopping you from doing a story returning to Devil's End.
Yeah, that was the Primords.
Primords.
It's called.
That's right.
Primord. There we go.
I mean, again, speak to Big Finish. Return to Devil's End sounds like a great title.
Yeah.
Art.
Nick Briggs, I hope you're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want something more done with Invasion of the Dinosaurs. Okay, I'm such a dinosaur fan, and I think it would work a bit better.
Spiders as well.
Yeah.
Maybe the Planet of the Spiders revisited somewhere. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, something could definitely be done with that. I'm sorry. Here's one off the top of my head. Would you like to work with any other Doctors as the Third Doctor? Do you think? Do you think there's any potential to say,
Of course, yeah. I mean, obviously they've got all of them from the 4th onwards. Well, the 4th up to the 10th, 11th. So yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I have worked with, I think, all of them, either on radio or in theatre. So yeah, it'd be great to work with them again. Absolutely.
Oh, imagine some kind of a follow-up to the Third Doctors, the three Doctors, all with the new recast.
Yes. Well, I'm up for it. It's more work for me, so
I'd just love to see anything more of the second and third Doctor interacting, because
their dynamic is fantastic in the three Doctors.
Well, that could happen, couldn't it? I mean,
100%. Like I say, they've got Fraser playing him at the minute. Is that still the case? It is, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah,
they are doing a new second Doctor exclusive range. So we've got Tim doing the third Doctor in his own range. You've got David Bradley doing the first Doctor in his own range. They are doing a second Doctor exclusive range. I do not believe it's been announced who will be doing the voice. Hopefully it will be Fraser, because he is genuinely fantastic at it.
Yeah.
Well, watch the space.
Oh, absolutely.
We shall see. Can't say.
So, got to ask about how, to what extent were you a Doctor Who fan growing up? Is it something you've only got into lately, or is it something that's seen you through?
No, I was a massive Fourth Doctor fan when I was growing up. Yeah, when I was a kid. Tom Baker, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. Loved it. 5:15, whatever it was, or maybe a bit later on a Saturday night. Oh yeah. I think I did probably hide behind the sofa at the theme. The theme used to scare me.
Really?
I used to love it. I used to love Doctor Who.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This
and
one,
then I lost it. You know, other things happened. I turned teenage, and you know, I started doing other things, and so I started.
Of course.
TV a bit for a while, but of course now I don't remember John's Doctor. I would have been too young, but I remember seeing repeats.
Of course, yeah.
But the thing is, it was weird because to me, it was Tom Baker was Doctor Who. So this bloke isn't Doctor Who. You know, the other. You know, I didn't understand all the regeneration thing, and obviously it was very early still.
Absolutely.
So I do remember though. I remember vividly Tom's regeneration into Peter Davison. I remember vividly, and I remember being shocked because I didn't know it was coming, because this is pre-spoilers and stuff and pre-social media, so no one knew it was happening.
I can imagine as well, because he was the Doctor for a long time, wasn't he? Obviously, about 7 years.
Was it? 7 years, I believe.
70. I think it might be a bit later, man. Was it 74 to?
Yeah, 74 to 81, I think.
Oh, one was it? Is it 81?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that. I remember the shock of that.
So with me growing up, I've got a completely different introduction to it, because as I think Josh as well, we got into it with the Eccleston series onward, and then I've gone, this is really good. I'm going to go check out the old stuff, and has then been able to watch that from there. And now, end result, I prefer the old stuff rather than the new show. That's not me saying anything against the new show. I think they are different shows with a lot of similar themes. Liking one does not necessarily mean liking the other.
Of course.
I think the early ones have got a lot of theatricality to them. Because you had actors who were theatre actors primarily in them. So it's got a more sort of very English theatricality to it.
100%.
It makes it totally different.
I think as well, you have someone in the third. I feel like each you get the Doctors being very different these days, but not in the sense you'd have in the classic series. So the third Doctor was unequivocally an action star. He was James Bond. He was that sort of character. And then you get the fourth Doctor, and I feel like they're completely you couldn't get more different between them.
Oh, you couldn't, did you? He was sort of like a massive womble almost, you know.
I was going to say crackhead, but that's a far better. That's a far better term.
With the jelly babies and the sort of like accent, that different eccentricity and that sense of mischief he had. And Tommy it's the same now. He's a bit older, but he's still a lot of fun. He's still got that sparkle, mischief in his eyes.
And I've got to ask the really dull question. I'm sure everyone who's ever been involved with Doctor Who gets asked: do you have a favourite episode, either one that you've done or one that you watched growing up as a kid? Do you have a favourite episode?
Well, The Demons is my favourite.
The Demons is your favourite.
The Demons is my favourite. I absolutely love it. I just think it's got everything. It's got it's obviously got the sort of supernatural. It's got monsters. It's got all the unit team, and it's got the British Army in it, and it's so many. There's so many film references I see. In it. I mean, Jason the Argonauts and the Eagle Has Landed. I see in the Wicker Man and things like that. Even North by Northwest, with the helicopter place there. It's just tremendous.
I feel it holds up extremely well watching it nowadays because of the pacing. Because a lot of the classic series, back in the classic series, this stuff wasn't designed to be binge watched. It was meant to be watched an episode a week. So nowadays, when you're rewatching some of the old stuff, when you're on like the war games and it's like 5 hours long, it can feel a bit slow. But I don't think the Demon suffers from that. It's 5 episodes long, but I can sit for it in one viewing because they've always got something going on.
Yes, it's very action packed, isn't it? And it's got lots of different threads to it. Lots,
if you've not got like the brig dealing with the heat war, you've got the master going and dealing with the townsfolk, and then the actual demon stuff itself. And
that's right. Yeah,
it's a very good example of it's kind of the golden unit story. It's kind of the person. If you want a good taste of what this era of the show is like, watch the Demons.
It's tremendous. It really is.
I really feel like that's an advantage of having the master as much as they did. He was always technically the B plot, but then you knew the B plot would always be amazing, if that makes sense. So
sure, yes, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Whereas like a lot of other, of course,
great actors who could do it, people who were theatre trained. It's always going to be good.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess then of your stuff that you've done, would you have a favorite amongst them?
Yeah, I think the Devil's Footprints, which has only recently come out, is my favorite. Or it's not the Devil Hoofprints, is it? It's the Devil's Footprints, I'm sure it is. Because I remember that story as a kid. I remember reading it in a sort of ghost annual thing, and it spooked me out. And because there's still no explanation for it, it's intriguing. And then so doing that story was a buzz doing that. That was my favorite without that. I think that's been my favorite. The Cyber one I enjoyed.
Because it was a bit
with the Atto Eels, that was fun to do. There's I mean, they're all great in their own different way, and it's great, working with different companions as well now, because we've got Sadie and we've got Daisy as well, and obviously John is on board as well. So it's great. Everyone is totally different and totally special in its own way.
I was going to ask about future projects, because presumably you're still carrying on with Big Finish. Is that a case of it's like by box set, or are you just on their books and they just tell you what to do now?
No, it's basically we do a couple of box sets a year, and that's pretty much what I do for them at the minute. I mean, the problem is because give me some more work, especially at the moment. But the problem is because the Third Doctor is quite high profile, it's very difficult to be in something else. But I mean, obviously COVID has shredded the industry, my industry, particularly theatre, where my bread and butter is. So hopefully that'll come back. So I'm trying to get more and more audio work, to be honest, at the moment.
Can I very briefly ask?
If there's anyone out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hire this man. Very quickly, I'd just love to ask, during this past year, how has it been recording these sorts of things? Have you been able to do it from home? Have you been still being able to go into their studios, or how has it worked for you personally?
Well, I've got home recording facilities. I recorded a bit for the Time Fracture, the immersive experience from home. Wow. But the actual Third Doctors, I've gone to a studio which is about 45 minutes away in Wadhurst, near Tunbridge Wells in Kent. That's where Tom does his recording. And other than Jeff Beck, the former rock star, his car's racing past the studio at all hours. It's a great little studio to go to. So it's usually me on my own there with the engineer or with maybe one other person. I've been up to where we normally record, the Sound House in Acton. I went up to record a River Song there a couple of months ago. But it's been sort of winging it at the moment. I mean, I'd love to go back to the studios in Ladbroke Grove, where you all know about the legendary lunches that supplied there. So I'd long to go back to that, but I don't know when that's going to be. I think maybe possibly next year. Hopefully it'll all get back to some sort of normality. Yeah,
Let's hope so.
Could
Absolutely.
we ask about future projects with the Third Doctor, or is that all under lock and key? What do we have to look forward to in the next?
Well, there's one that's going to be. We're going to record another one fairly soon, but I can't say any more than that. Unfortunately, in fact, because I don't know any more than that.
The Doctor is in it, so that we know.
yeah. So I think there's another one going to be recorded, and as long as the fans keep buying them and keep liking them, then we'll keep doing them.
Great stuff.
So, yeah. Other than that, I'm available for work. Anyway.
As I say, hi this man. I always give people an opportunity as well when I do these interviews to sort of advertise their platform. So if you have a website where people can visit or anything of that nature, is there any way you'd like to direct people at all?
Yeah, I've got a website, which I've actually only just had created. It's timtreloar.com. So, and that'll have everything on there, different pages, my CVs and my show reel and my voice page and writing page. And so, so timtreloar.com.
Fantastic. Oh, great stuff.
I'm just looking it up now.
Absolutely. But yes, on that note, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. This has been really informative and wonderful. It's very hard to hear about the world of Big Finish from the outside looking in. So this has been quite interesting. And just hearing about someone stepping in the shoes of another Doctor, it's really interesting to me.
Yeah, great. Yeah, well, I'm hopefully you're enjoying the stuff, and
absolutely.
Genuinely, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, because it has been amazing to be able to see new episodes of these old lovable characters. It really does feel like it is new episodes of the old show, which is like appealing to such a niche market. So we're just over the moon that we do actually have people willing to give us that amazing.
It's a big market. It's a big niche market. There's an army of hooligans.
Yeah. I think Doctor Who is the most cult show that, like, it's the perfect example. No one knows what it is, like normal people. Yeah. But my God, there's so many people that love it.
I know.
That's it. Yeah. And Big Finish is and Big Finish is great for that, because they'll just take characters. They'll even take characters who were in like one episode and then make box sets out of them. So everybody
has Lightfoot, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has the needs catered to with Big Finish. So again, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day, Tim. This has been wonderful. Thank you.